First and foremost, I gotta thank God. I thank God. First and foremost, I gotta thank God. I thank God. First and foremost, I gotta thank God. I thank God. First and foremost, I gotta thank God. I thank God. First and foremost, I gotta thank God. I thank God. First and foremost, I gotta thank God. I thank God. First and foremost, I gotta thank God. I thank God. First and foremost, I gotta thank God. I thank God. First and foremost, I gotta thank God. I thank God. First and foremost, I gotta thank God. I thank God. First and foremost, I gotta thank God. I thank God. First and foremost, I gotta thank God. I thank God. First and foremost, I gotta thank God. I thank God. First and foremost, I gotta thank God. I thank God. First and foremost, I gotta thank God. I thank God. First and foremost, I gotta thank God. I thank God. First and foremost, I gotta thank God. I thank God. First and foremost, I gotta thank God. I thank God. First and foremost, I gotta thank God. I thank God. First and foremost, I gotta thank God. I thank God. First and foremost, I gotta thank God. I thank God. First and foremost, I gotta thank God. I thank God. First and foremost, I gotta thank God. I thank God. First and foremost, I gotta thank God. I thank God. First and foremost, I gotta thank God. I thank God. First and foremost, I gotta thank God. I thank God. First and foremost, I gotta thank God. I thank God. First and foremost, I gotta thank God. I thank God. First and foremost, I gotta thank God. I thank God. First and foremost, I gotta thank God. I thank God. First and foremost, I gotta thank God. I thank God. First and foremost, I gotta thank God. I thank God. First and foremost, I gotta thank God. I thank God. First and foremost, I gotta thank God. I thank God. First and foremost, I gotta thank God. I thank God. First First and foremost, I gotta thank God. I thank God. First and foremost, I gotta thank God. First and foremost, I gotta thank God. I thank God. First and foremost, I gotta thank God. I thank God. First and foremost, I gotta thank God. I thank God. First and foremost, I gotta thank God. I thank God. First and foremost, I gotta thank God. I thank God. First and foremost, I gotta thank God. I thank God. First and foremost, I gotta thank God. I thank God. First and foremost, I gotta thank God. I thank God. First and foremost, I gotta thank God. I thank God. First and foremost, I gotta thank God. I thank God. First and foremost, I gotta thank God. I thank God. First and foremost, I gotta thank God. I thank God. First and foremost, I gotta thank God. I thank God. First and foremost, I gotta thank God. I thank God. First and foremost, I gotta thank God.
Mic check, 1 2 1 2. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon.
I gotta thank God.
Hope everybody's doing well out there.
I thank God.
Always grateful to be in your company. Always grateful to jam with you.
I thank God. First and foremost,
This is the foundation. Grateful to be with you. Always grateful to be in your company. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being able to tune in with me as we continue to be able to discuss what's happening from a national perspective. My name is Howard Grant. If this is your first time tuning in with us, this is who I am. Guys, make sure that you can hear me. Let me know if you could be able to hear me in that kind of a space wherever you are out there. Hit me up and let me know what's happening. What's happening? The numbers that you can call today, 827-0111. 827-0111. Forgive me, man. I was doing a little something, trying to be able to get some things done. I've been running out there, checking my guy Ephraim Jones. So, my daughter calling me. I'm on air. Text me. So we're live, guys, and we're being able to do what we're doing, just talk about these things. Guys, please give me a shout. 827-0111 at 827-0111. Let me turn these telephones off. 827-0111. We're going to make some things happen and be able to talk about these things. Hit me up, guys, so we can be able to talk about what's happening from a national perspective. We're out here, and we're just talking about national issues and where we are. All right, 827-0111, 827-0111. Shannon Don is now outside the House of Assembly. Literally. I suppose he's there now. Shannon Don still has a job. Y'all don't fight Shannon Don. Let's talk about these things and be able to identify these things. Now, listen. There's a text that I just get. Shannon Don outside the House of Assembly with 6 people shouting, "Who is politician one? How the mighty have fallen." He used to be in the House saying how the government would be wiped out, and now he lost his seat. Wow. So text is coming through. Just being able to do that. 827-0111. 827-0111. A lot of people out there being able to talk about these things.
First and foremost, I gotta thank God. I thank God. First and foremost, I gotta thank God.
Let's talk about some stuff, guys. Let's talk about where we are from a national perspective. Let's identify those things and talk about some stuff from a national perspective. I'm always grateful to be here with you. Always happy to jam with you in the land of the living. Praise God. Talk to me. We're still waiting on some things to happen. I think they're having technical difficulties in Grand Bahama. You shouldn't have no problem with the power. Talk to me. The government of the Bahamas has already acquired your Grand Bahama Power Company. So you should see some modifications in that particular area real soon. And we should know exactly where we are, right? So we're looking to be able to hear back from them and see exactly what's what. We'll be tapping with them in a hot second, but it's going to be you and I. Just being able to talk about these things. I always like when it's you and I. Can I do that? Because, sometimes in my mind, I got to be able to formalize the approach of how I say what I need to say for the purposes of the national discourse. Simply because you got to be decent with IRCA Radio. You got to be decent in these particular areas. You got to be decent. You can't just say what you want to say all willy-nilly. And I don't think it's an irresponsible thing to be able to say these things, but there's a level of transparency that you want to be able to bring to the forefront that you are reluctant to simply because of how the tradition runs in this country. Can I say that to you? Simply because of how tradition runs in this country. There is a level of reluctance that you see people come and tell you something and then they'll pull back and so forth and so on. And so this kind of reluctance that exists in this particular space is a discouraging factor from not being able to give you the truth. But let's talk the truth today. So I always like when it's you and I and being able to have these kind of a conversation. I always like when we're having these talks and being able to talk about these things like this. I always like that when we could be able to do this. So we're going to continue that. Guys, if you can hear me, let me know. Text me 827-0111. Do you have any problems? Is there any echo? Can you hear me loud and clear on the people YouTube? Talk to me. Let me know 827-0111, or you can just hit me up on the thing, and I should be able to see exactly what's what. So let me know if you could be able to hear me, because I haven't had an opportunity to be able to hear whether or not you can. You know what I mean? Like I didn't hear back. But let's talk about these things. A lot of things are going down. There's kind of a text with Shannon on Cartwright. Hey, listen, man. At one day out of 7, we're gonna have to stop talking about the Free National Movement. It's just what it is. We've spoken about them for years with the expectation that they would be able to move with an inclination of being able to make the modifications necessary to find themselves towards growth and development. That's just what it is. There's a lot of words to say. We would hope that you would listen and change the course that you were taking to move towards this. But who are we? Who are we? We're lowly men. Who are we? Nobody. You know what I mean? Like, who are we? Who are we? Howard and Garth and anybody else who's being able to speak about us, I know, listen to me. I know. Can I say this to you? I know that there was a desire in the depths of these men's heart to eradicate any opposers, anyone who stood in their way, anyone who gave them any objection, anyone who gave them any flack, any pushback, anyone who said anything against their plight and their desire to be able to achieve the highest office or high office in this land and their pursuit thereof, he was going to bulldoze them down. I know I already didn't start packing all my things to ZNS. I didn't tell you it wasn't. Come on, man. Listen. When I say packing my things, I never expected the Free National Movement to actually win. But you always prepare yourself because I don't know. You prepare yourself. You understand? They tell me there's some politicians out here left everything in their office. Now they ain't there no more. So the politician left everything in the office. Minister so-and-so left everything in his office. Sir, you're not there anymore. You're going to have to get them things shipped to you. You're not there anymore. The proper procedure is to be able to set yourself straight during the dissolution of these particular things. And after the election, depending on how things go, you still have to wait for an appointment. Does the government still want me in this capacity? Does the government still want me here? You don't know. You're out here wilding out and just... oh yeah, I'll be back. Sir, you need to stop. Pack your things up accordingly and find yourself in the position where you serve at the pleasure of the Prime Minister. In the event that the Prime Minister wants you back, then you will return. But in the event that he doesn't, then you won't. It's just simple. I see people in various capacities, heading certain boards and so forth and so on, nestled into their position. This is not going to be like this for a long time. The Prime Minister is making his decisions on who he's going to put where right now, and they're going to be able to determine exactly what's what. You should have packed up your stuff. Win, lose, or draw, there is no obligation that the government provides you a specific opportunity. That's just peculiar that you would think that. And even if they provide you an opportunity, it would not necessarily look like how you did last time because you did not perform the way that you should have. Can I say that? Oh my God. Yes, the PLP won the government. Yes, the PLP won the election. Yes, the PLP was able to retain these particular aspects, and this is wonderful. However, you did not perform well. You didn't. You did not perform well. There was significant turmoil bubbling out of your subsection, your department, your division, where you have the oversight over. You didn't perform well. What is your expectation? What is your expectation? That you remain in this particular capacity because of party loyalty? No. I don't believe that should be so. I don't believe that should be so. 827-0111, 827-0111. Howard, I have noticed some shifts. How you could ask me this? How you could ask me this on the People Radio? You know everybody can hear me, right? Howard, who had to pack up their stuff? Yeah, well, some people move. Some people move. Let's just say it like that. Let's be decent and put it like that. Some people moved from their capacity. So let's talk like that, right? Guys, we're out here in the land of the living, being able to jam and have good conversations with you about national progression, national growth and development, and being able to move in the direction that we were called to move in this time and in this season. Let's make some things happen. As we identify these things, I want to be able to talk to you about it and talk to you about next steps. Very peculiar. Some things have happened this morning. Can I say this to you? Rupert Roberts is gone. Rupert Roberts is no longer with us. He has gone on to his reward. Rupert Roberts is gone. The acquisitions of billions in our company, in our country, being able to do a tremendous amount of things. I've received information this morning, ladies and gentlemen, that Rupert Roberts, a mogul in this country, has passed away. He is no longer with us. Let's see if we can. Breaking news: businessman and super value food store chain owner Rupert Roberts has died. It's 2 hours ago. Company President Deborah Simonet confirmed the passing in the short statement, saying that it is with a heavy heart that I regretfully announce the passing of our founder, Mr. Rupert Roberts Jr. Mr. Roberts passed away prayerfully and peacefully this morning. He was the heart and soul of our company, still very active in the daily operations of SuperValue until his passing. We extend our condolences and support to the family. May he rest in peace and rise in glory. This is the good Anglican woman. And rise in glory. Rest in. May the souls of the May the souls of the merciful. No. What did they say? May the souls of... I can't remember. Anyway, it's Anglicans. Rest in peace and rise in glory. Amen. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that, man. I'm very sorry to hear that Rupert Roberts is gone. You recognize that there's a transition from dynasties in this country. You recognize that moguls are passing on. You recognize the importance of being able to identify that persons are moving in a particular direction. Let's see if I can play a little taste of this. I want to play a little something for you.
A supervisor at the City Meat Market grocery store in the John S. George Shopping Center. He was first a supervisor working at City Markets. Then he became the manager of that store whilst as a packing boy. He became my favorite supervisor because I got the privilege very often to be transported to the City Market store in Lightfoot Key, outside Lightfoot Key, where the tips were better. And I always remember that. And again, Madam Speaker, the journey of some of our people. And we often, unfortunately, there's this view that the oligarchs treated a sect of our society in a particular way. But that's not true. All Bahamians were treated in a particular way. I just refreshed my memory on the life and times of Patrick Bethel, who wrote about his schooling at the all-age school in Cherokee Sound. He spoke about the conditions under which he found himself at that time. And they were no different than my conditions when I went to the all-age school in Old White Cat Island. At the City Meat Market grocery store in the John S. George. That's
the Prime Minister being able to talk about specifically about Rupert Roberts and his capacity. These are the 6-person parliament protests. Free National Movement Deputy Leader Shannon Cartwright led a protest outside of the House of Assembly calling the government to respond to the allegations surrounding politician number 1. This is the unnamed Bahamian politician referenced in the U.S. federal court documents connected to the drug smuggling investigation. This is Cartwright questioned whether Prime Minister Philip Davis would act, arguing that Bahamians are demanding answers and warning that continued silence could damage the country's reputation and weaken public confidence in government. Let's listen to Shannon and see what he got to say.
No drug dealers in our parliament.
Really?
So two very important questions the Bahamian people have. Who is politician number 1? And will the Prime Minister act? And so the leader of the opposition, our entire caucus, and Bahamians across this country and our organization continues to ask for answers.
6 people.
It cannot be right that as we stand here today, and as this parliament meets to hear the budget communication, that somebody, politician number 1, is sitting right up there in the people's house.
I know
so
they
we're
went.
asking the Prime Minister that he is duty bound. He is duty bound on behalf of our country, on behalf of the Bahamian people, to stop this reputational damage to the Commonwealth of the Bahamas and to the Bahamian people. The Bahamian people want to know who is politician number 1.
Who is politician number 1?
If Chairman of the Progressive Liberal Party, if this government continues to be dismissive of the Bahamian people by suggesting that there's nothing there, then the Bahamian people will respond, and they are responding. This cuts at the heart of our democracy, and every day, every session that the government does not give answers, it will continue to leak confidence from this government and continue to call in to question this institution because we have failed to deal with one solitary politician number one and not get any answers from this government.
Should we call Shannon on Cartwright? Let's call Shannon on Cartwright. Let's call Shannon on Cartwright. Let's call him. Is he still out there? Is he still out there? Yeah. Is he still out there? Text me, guys. Let me know exactly where we are. And seeing exactly what's what. Let me see if I can call him right now. Now, this is a cold call. Remember this. This is a cold call. So we're going to have to be able to be... Let's see whether or not he's going to take the call. And then I'll connect him through to find out these particular things because I'm exhausted with this charade. This is an exhaustive situation. Okay, he hasn't answered. Hey, Shannon, hope all is well. This is Howard Grant, just touching base with you. Hey, let me know whether or not you're available to be able to come on air and sort of have a conversation with us. We'd love to be able to hear from you about your views on what Politician 1 is, and a very quick interview. Let me know if you're interested, my brother. We're available right now. Thanks so much. Let's call him and let's find out. Let's find out if he's interested. Let's put him on record, and let's ask some questions. Because whilst I agree with him, I make no qualms about it. I agree with him in his particular capacity for politician number one. But I just want to be able to say with clarity that the Free National Movement has not taken this sort of this tenacious approach as it relates to being able to deal with Marvin Dames. In fact, you swept it under the rug. You never mentioned it. You never talked about it. You just let it go. And we're supposed to be able to be here in this kind of a capacity, and transparency and democracy and the desire to be able to see things move in that direction isn't lopsided. This feels lopsided to me. Can I say this to you? I just want to be decent with you. This feels rather lopsided to me. We ain't fighting you. We ain't hate you. We ain't angry with you. We're not mad and so forth. But it feels lopsided. It doesn't feel like there is a balance that you're aiming for, that you're shooting for, that you're focused on. It's lopsided. It's a desire to be able to make you to see the ills of another man without the consideration of the beam that exists in your own eye. That's just what it is, man. That's just what it is. Okay? You're taking on this kind of a position and being able to talk about that Brent Simonet and his family come from rum running during a time when there was prohibition in the United States of America. Their finances comes from this particular... someone said to me the other day, the way that the Bahamas has survived is off of variations of piracy over the years. We've survived off of a variation of piracy, some modification to what piracy is over the years. And we continue to be able to thrive in that particular capacity, that Bahamian people wish to be able to thrive off of the goods and services and products that the sea offers. There's a level of piracy that exists in this particular capacity. We bring in the debauchery from elsewhere. We hide it, we cloak it, we distribute it accordingly. This is what's happening in this space. This is what's happening. And as we look at this and we try to have this kind of a clear conversation, I just don't understand. I don't understand. Every single one of our political organizations, the major ones, the FNM and the PLP, was marred with these allegations and speculations of people being involved with nefarious activities. Yeah. Every one of them. You have more than one man Grammy said you can't trust them as far as you could throw them. You can't trust these men. They present a good game. They tell you everything that you want to hear, that you need to hear to give them the opportunity that they're looking for. And then they hop out of the sheep's clothing. A lot of these men are wolves. They've been taught in the pen, in the den. They've been taught, they groomed and prepare themselves to know how to navigate the good, decent sheeple who are law-abiding citizens out here just trying to be able to survive. They've done what they need to do and been able to forge and craft them this particular concept and develop themselves in debauchery and become experts at that and present themselves to the formality of society in a lie, dressed in sheep clothing, and we give them an opportunity, and now you're out here screaming. But if you're an advocate, if you're an adjutant, if you continue to speak in this particular manner, let's be very clear about this. Let's be clear about this with clarity now. It cannot be solely for the purposes of those that you oppose. If you oppose wrongdoing, it should not only be wrongdoing that's coming from the PLP. If you oppose wrongdoing, it should not only be wrongdoing that's coming from the government of the Bahamas. The injustices that we've suffered and that we've endured as a result of what has happened for the Grand Bahama Port Authority over the years, with the expectation of them being able to perform what should happen under their contractual agreement and these particular things. No one's saying anything about that. In fact, your leader, current leader, was taking on a position and took a Rodney King's posture. Can't we all just get along? He took on a Rodney King posture with the Grand Bahama Port Authority, and the lines were already drawn in the sand years ago. With no expectation of being able to change anything, you said, can't we all just get along? No. And I think that's quite clear. No, we can't get along. And I think it's quite clear, but you don't want to believe it is. You don't want to believe that it is. You put yourself in this particular capacity and you're fighting for people who don't care about you. And you follow this leader. You took the mace out to indicate that the authority of this particular space is null and void, threw the mace out of the window in a dispensation in an era of peace in this country. Peace. This is political peace. It may be disagreements, but there isn't this overwhelming injustice. There isn't this scream bellowing from the working class of this country, the lower class of this country. Everyone has their head down looking for an opportunity to educate themselves, to employ themselves, to occupy themselves, to get to another position, to look for an opportunity for a contract, to look for an opportunity for their children. Everybody is working in this country in one level or another. And you take on this particular capacity to being able to throw out the mace, symbolic of the authority that exists in this particular space, and you expect everyone to kind of play along with you as you present yourself in a particular manner. That's just peculiar to me. It's peculiar to me. It's peculiar. And now, as Shannon Orange Cartwright sits outside of the House of Assembly for the second time now, as we're seeing him being able to come in a baseball cap and adorned in the capacity, not with the formality of being able to step into the House, but just make sure that the sun don't beat him down. As we're watching him, we realize that, like my good friend says, oh, how the mighty have fallen. We have to stop this foolishness. This is an exhausting experience. There are things that you could do better than this. Now, I realize that Shannon on game is, even if he hasn't articulated it. Shannon on wants to be the leader of the Free National Movement. He has always been. And I thought that he was in a good position to do so. By 2023, I knew that he wouldn't be able to do it. 3 years ago, Mike had never stopped working in St. Barnabas. He stayed steadfast. He took care of them people. And 18 months in, we knew that Mike would blow him out. He knew that. 18 months in, we knew that Mike would blow him out in the event that he stayed in St. Barnabas. He knew that. He moved and he still get wiped out. His political aspirations to ascend to the position of leader in the Free National Movement has died. And I could say that it's died because Michael Pintar didn't give him a Senate appointment. Now, I see Dwayne Sands trying to justify the fact that in his leadership capacity, he has access to the media across the country and he still has the platform to get his message out. He's talking garbage, okay? From you to me, from me to you. It's just between us. It's garbage. As a justification for being able to be identified as a has-been, Michael Pintar himself has to prepare the House for new ownership. These men represent former ownership. Maxine gone, Nicole gone, Darren Henfield gone, all these people gone. In the Senate right now for the Free National Movement sits Ellsworth Johnson, Rick Fox, Arinthia Komolafe, and who's the fourth person? One more person. I don't know, my mind escapes me. Information escapes my mind. Let me go look for it. Someone text me, who's the fourth person? I don't know, I just try not to be able to keep up too heavy. I don't want to insult the people. Like, this is not my objective. Like, it's not my desire to be able to say something negative about them. I honestly cannot remember who the fourth person was. Let me see. I thought y'all was going to text me and tell me who the fourth person was for the Free National Movement in the House of Assembly. You're not doing that. Let's see. F&M senators. Let's go. May 19, 2000, Arinthia Komolafe, Rick Fox, and Dr. Trevor Johnson. I really don't know Dr. Trevor Johnson's. I heard his name called a few times about the possibility for getting the nomination in Central Grand Bahama. This is the Senate for the Free National Movement. Now, this is a peculiar Senate for me. Can I say this to you? Can we talk like this? Is it okay? It's just me and you today. We don't have, like, I'm not out here for Grand Bahama. So we're going to talk like this today. Hubert Alexander Ingram took on this kind of a position after the death of the Free National Movement at the polls on May 12, 2026. He took on this kind of a posture and he stated emphatically that we're still suffering from the Minnis era. Okay? We're still suffering from the Minnis era. Let's see if we can pull up that story and being able to talk about that, right? Let's see if we can find that. Ingram says, still wounded by the Minnis era. Let's pull up the story. May 14th, 2026. The Guardian actually put the story out there. Let's talk about this. Okay? Let's get into it. Let's talk about it. And then we're going to talk about some national news. I want to talk to you like this today because I'm sick and tired. I don't think it's going to change, but I'm still sick and tired of the situation. I think it is an exhausting experience. And it continues to be able to diminish the value that we have for the Free National Movement and what our expectation is from an organization such as that. All right, so this is May 14, 2026. Free National Movement. With the Free National Movement, FNM reeling from the crushing defeat at the polls on Tuesday general election, the party's former leader, Hubert Ingraham, said that yesterday that it is still suffering from the mistakes of the Minnis administration. That's what he says. Ingraham, who served as Prime Minister in the Bahamas for 3 non-consecutive terms, 1992 to 2002, and again from 2007 to 2012, said there is still lingering resentment from former Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis's time in office, which was marred by the impact of the Hurricane Dorian on Abaco and Grand Bahama, as well as COVID-19 pandemic. Ingraham also pointed to the ability of Prime Minister Philip Brave Davis and the leader of the Progressive Liberal Party to convince the public of his ability to lead the country over the FNM's leader, Michael Pintard. I think that the party has been damaged very badly by the last term in office. This is what he says. Ingraham, now, in my humble opinion, this is justification to be able to throw a noose around his neck and give him the Italian cement shoes to swim with the fishes. This is politically. This is an analogy. This is justification for being able to bury him deep within the depths so that he would never emerge or reemerge in this particular capacity or even be considered. This sort of a language that Hubert Ingraham is using is to solidify in the hearts and the minds of those particular persons, meritorious council members, MCMs, and those persons responsible for being able to identify the next dispensation of leadership of the Free National Movement. He needs to be able to put a seed in your heart to make you to understand and justify why we should never ever look back at the possibility of being able to let Minnis lead the organization again. Hubert Ingraham is a very strategic man. You have to give that to him. He's politically motivated and extremely strategic, seasoned significantly in this. Lorries and all. Let's just talk. See, I think that the party is damaged very badly by its last term in office, Ingraham told the Nassau Guardian in an interview. The Free National Movement, the FNM, that the public had come to expect and to respect and to support by, did not appear to be the FNM that governed them the last time, and they have not overcome that. So I think that the pandemic created great damage for the party. The way it was handled or mishandled. And in that case of Abaco and Grand Bahama, I think that there was a great resentment to the party for what it did or didn't do with respect to the hurricane. Let's be very clear. He's talking about himself. Is this thing loud enough? Can you hear me? Is it loud enough? Can you hear me? Hubert Ingraham, in this instance, as he's talking about what happened in Abaco and in Grand Bahama more specifically, speaking emphatically and giving you the analogy or the illusion that he's talking about national issues, but he's talking to you more specifically of how he was slighted in his position. He and both former Prime Minister Perry Christie, as he told Christie, come go with me, let's go do this thing. Maybe this boy will talk to all two of us because he ain't talking to me. And he carried firm with Prime Minister Christie, jump on the golf cart, go on down there, distribute some water, drive the water behind them, give some people some water, sit down, listen to them. And hadn't heard a word from Minnis. Minnis never checked for him. Never worry about him. Never talk to him. Nothing. Let's go further. She says, secondly, I think that the population determined that they preferred Brave as their prime minister to Michael as their prime minister. And that played a significant role in the decision, which the voters made yesterday, Tuesday, because he got this. This was an interview that happened on Wednesday. And they put this in the paper on Thursday. Okay? Now, let's be clear about this. There's a lot of moving parts in this conversation. Hubert Ingraham needed to put cement shoes on Minnis to solidify his death and bury him in the abyss, never to reemerge again. He, like Hubert Ingraham would like to say, will be one and done. It's one and done. That's it. I think that he was successful in being able to eradicate Minnis from that particular capacity, and whatever lingers in the minds and the hearts of those persons who make determinations for who should be the next leader of the organization, that he squashed with this sort of a discourse. We're still hurting from Minnis, which is a peculiar thing that he would take on that kind of a course. If he's saying this to the general public, that means that he should have been able to say this to the caucus. And if he said this to the caucus, what about the nomination and ratification of, right down to Kwesi Thompson? Right down to Ellsworth Johnson, Dwayne Sands, Darren Henfield, what that boy name? No, I don't think we could put him in there because he sat in a separate capacity. I'm talking about Adrian White. Adrian White served with him, but not served for him. It was, the allegiance has always been to the people who sent him, which was Sinans, which was that particular elk of people in that kind of an area. So I can't put him in there. All right. Darren Henfield in that particular capacity. Did we say Ellsworth? Yeah. These are all men that served with him. These are all men that served with him. They would have been ratified and given a second opportunity to be able to serve. Marvin Dames. There's some people that you've rejected who've shown a significant sense of loyalty to Minnis, but there's some people that you look over this. So just without being able to go through the entire, lot of men that were ratified, we look at this. We say Kwesi, Ellsworth, Dwayne, Darren, Marvin, and most definitely Michael Pintard. Let's be clear about this and let's identify these particular things, okay? Now, when we look at these things, Kwesi, Ellsworth, Dwayne, Darren, Marvin, Michael, all these men ran on the ticket. All these men ran on the Free National Movement's ticket. And in the midst of being able to run on these tickets, and we identify those, let's be very clear about this now. In the midst of being able to run on these tickets, and we identify these things, and we see exactly what's what, let's be clear about this. You took no consideration for the fact that these men had ran. Did Ricky? No. Did Howard Ricky Mackey, was he ratified with the Free National Movement? With Minnis? Yes, he was. Yes, he was. Howard Ricky Mackey. Yes, Howard Ricky Mackey in Long Island. All these people serve at Minnis. Howard Ricky Mackey, Dr. Andre Rollins came over to the Free National Movement as a result of this particular thing. Let's look at this. Okay? Let's be clear about this. You fight me, but let's be clear about this. If we look at this slate, almost more than 10% of the people that you've chosen, %20 of the people that you chose serve with, maybe more, because I ain't going through all them, serve with ministers in some capacity. But you took absolutely no consideration for the fact that, as you say, we're still suffering from this kind of a blow and defeat. We're still suffering. That's what you say. Secondly, he says, I think that the pandemic created great damage for the party in the way that it's handled and misled in the case of Abaco and Grand Bahama, and I think that there was a great resentment. These are the same people who you had access to. None of them turned to you. None of them asked you for help, and you didn't like that. Hubert Ingram did not like that. Hubert Ingram did not like being slighted by these men who he've afforded an opportunity to. They should always genuflect when Hubert Ingram called. Don't care what you're doing in life. If Hubert Ingram called you, drop what you're doing, answer Papa now. Give him all the information he wants and open the doors so he can have access the way that he desires. That didn't happen. As a result of that not happening, this animosity, resentment, regret built in Hubert Ingram's heart. And for the man that he is, and he's proven us to be, from being able to learn about the ideas that we would have had for Lyndon Pinlin and how people would have said that, he is a vengeful man. Vengeance is mine, saith Hubert Ingram. He will never forget. He had blood in his eyes for minutes. And none of y'all want to say that. Nobody want to talk like that. Oh, Howard, but Jesus, Howard, you got to leave Hubert Ingram alone. You don't think you've done enough? For what? If we sit down here and stretch out from east to west, what has been done to us as a result of his leadership, not even while he was in office, because that's one question, but after he left, he's still meddling, like how the villains is still Scooby-Doo and the boys. He's still meddling in the democracy of progression and growth in his country. Still meddling. None of y'all will say nothing about that. You're content with this. But then you let him come in the newspaper and you put an entire story in the newspaper of him being able to solidify, because that was a political and strategic move, that he had to be able to put a noose around the neck and cement shoes on the feet of any potential of buoyancy to ever bounce back again in Hubert Alexander Menace. He had to drown him and cement him to the bottom of the ocean floor, never to be seen again politically. Never to be considered again. Never. And Menace knows exactly what it is. That was his interest in Kalani. That's why I told you all, the only reason Michael survived is because of the fact that Hubert Ingram didn't put his hand on Michael. Michael's father pushed him, and Hubert Ingram lent support to their family, to their thingam. But Hubert Ingram did not bring Michael to the forefront. I'm trying to tell you what's going on. Everybody who Hubert Ingram touched died a political death. Everybody who Hubert Ingram touched died. And the only vampire that keep coming back and got to get killed again is Dwayne Sands. This is the proverbial political Frankenstein. He just keep coming back. We don't know what to do. Oh my God, did we just kill this man? Get beat again. What did we just kill this man? Hubert Ingram got to fight all his political battles for him. Because he would get beat on the floor at the FNM's convention also. You always get mad at me for saying these things, but I'm not lying to you. I'm not lying to you. Let's be clear about this. Let's talk with clarity about this. Everybody who Hubert Ingram touched, everybody who Hubert, I told y'all that the young lady in North Africa was not going to win. Oh yeah, how would she win? I told you that she was not going to win. She didn't believe that she was going to win. First, that's the first thing. That was a red flag for me. My God, where the flag? Throw it right now. Bang. That was a red flag for me. I told y'all she wasn't going to win because she didn't believe that she was going to win. The information that came to me indicated that she didn't even want to do this. The woman said she didn't want to do it. Hubert Ingram say you could do it. Philippa Kelly, you thought that she was going to win? Beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. But this ain't a beauty competition. There's politics. If it was a beauty competition, and Bristol in my car would have been. Because Ferguson, he ain't fine as hell. Talk to me if that's what women say. If that's what you... Hey, she's a pretty gal. She should have won that. If you think this is a beauty competition. Is it no beauty competition, Bella? Is it no beauty competition? Everyone who Hubert Ingram put his hand on, save Michaela. Because she's the exception, she ain't the rule. The rule is Hubert Ingram's political influence has died. A very slow and painful death. We've watched this die and diminish in value over the past 8 years to 10 years. We've watched Hubert Ingram's influence and his political position die and diminish in value over the past 10 years. Can I say this? Is it okay to talk like this? We watched that. 2017, the Free National Movement won. That was on a high. After Hubert Minnis came out and said the Ingram era is over, the atmosphere took that seriously and accepted his leadership role as apostolic. I always get preachy, I need to calm down. The atmosphere, life accepted Hubert Minnis's words and actually made it happen where he is diminished significantly in value and his era is over. Hubert Ingram found a political defibrillator and restored himself for one day at the FNM convention to kill Minnis, and they killed Minnis for sure. They slaughter him. Minnis is gone. They turn him upside down, like how my granddaddy used to do the hog, and stick him, and he bleed out right there. Dip him in the 55-gallon bucket, and they start shaving him right there. They got the tar underneath. They just boil the water right there. They hold the hog upside down, dip him in there, shave him right there, let him bleed out right there. I wouldn't watch this in my lifetime. That's Minnis. Ingram, then make sure, let's get this done early. Let's get it done quick. Let's get it done early. Minnis is no more. Minnis is gone politically. He's my guy and everything like that. But he knows this game. These fellas, them outplay him. They mash him up. They couldn't beat him. They couldn't beat him. They can't beat Minnis toe-to-toe. I don't care what you all say. Michael Pintard could never beat Minnis toe-to-toe. He cannot beat him toe-to-toe. You cannot beat him. You cannot beat him. You need help. You boxing and Minnis getting punched and your hand's still in the air. And he said, what happened? You think Michael Pintar is an octopus? He getting hit whilst Michael two hand in the air, Minnis getting blows. How? You all needed to call in help for this man. You did. Can I say this to you? Let's be clear about it now. Let's be clear about it. They're ready to crucify Minnis. That's it. Minnis was gone. They seal his fate in the papers. Boom. Let's bring it back now. Why would you put Ellsworth Johnson in the Senate if this is your sentiment? You didn't have a choice, but who won or who didn't win? Kwesi won. Andre won. Michael won. Adrian won. Frazette, brand new. She won. Lincoln Deal. He won, brand new. Well, technically, Lincoln Deal is Minnis's guy. Lincoln Deal would have learned from his political development and his maneuverability from his proximity to Minnis and being able to chair his constituency division. Lincoln Deal. Michaelo and J. Leo Ferguson. All new. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is half and half in the House of Assembly. Half the people in the House of Assembly served with Minnis. Michael served on his cabinet. Kwesi served in his cabinet. Adrian served with him, and Andre served with him. How could you possibly come out to the media and indicate that the country is still suffering from what has happened or the missteps or whatever you want to be able to identify that as with the Minnis era? And the majority of people that you serve in, 5 out of the 14 people, the 12 people, 5 out of the 12 people. 5 out of the 12 people. Let's just be very clear. Let's be clear about this. Okay? $10% of 12 is 1.2. 20% is 2.4. 30% is 3.6. 40% is 4.8. All right? 40%. This is about 42% of the people. 42% of the people would have served with Minnis. From a percentage standpoint, almost half. Almost half of the people that served in this particular, that is serving right now for the Free National Movement, served with Minnis and was afforded an opportunity to be able to serve with Minnis in some capacity. But yet, Hubert Alexander Ingram come to the entire public and say, we're still suffering from those. And when none of y'all take into consideration that anyone who had anything to do with Minnis, let's not put him or her in there. Well, how would you can't throw away these people? But then, what do you mean? I don't understand what you're saying to me. I don't understand what you're saying to me. You identify the people who are supposed to have the conviction to be able to speak with strength to authority and try to guide the authority based upon your expertise and position into a right path for growth and development of the country. You sat there, you said absolutely nothing. You sat in this particular capacity, you said nothing. nothing to Hubert Alexander Minnis during his time. You lose, Minnis lose, you think that the country still owes you an opportunity. Many of y'all come back and you get slaughtered at the polls again. And in the case of Marvin Dames, this ain't got nothing to do with Minnis. In the case of Darren Henfield, this ain't got nothing to do with Minnis. Your defeat has absolutely nothing to do with Minnis. Marvin Dames' defeat has absolutely nothing to do with Minnis. Darren Henfield's defeat has nothing to do with Minnis. Dwayne Sands' defeat has nothing to do with Minnis. Ellsworth Johnson's defeat has nothing to do with Minnis. It has absolutely nothing to do with Minnis. Hey, cuz, I'm on air right now. I'm unable to speak to you right now. You can text me, and I'll be more than happy to assist you. You're still in this particular capacity, in this position of being able to cry out and blame Minnis for something. That's a weak thing. Weak. It's very weak. It's weak. And the Free National Movement will never recover as long as you seek some scapegoat to carry the burden of the defeat that you suffered as a collective. You will never recover. You will never recover unless you do introspection. You will never recover. You will never recover. Relentlessly being able to identify from an external standpoint where and why these issues exist. So you said, this issue exists because of him. This issue exists because of her. And then him and her gone. The issue's still there. Michael is not a unifier. All he is relentlessly being able to excuse himself and provide one excuse after another why this didn't happen, why that didn't happen, all these. But he's an excuse. He has excuses. Dwayne Sands is extremely dismissive and high-minded in his political mind. I don't know, I can't say this socially as him as an individual, but politically, he has elevated himself beyond where his capabilities are. So he's out of touch. He's elevated himself beyond his capability. Yeah, he could win, you know. He could win if he knows what his capabilities was. He could win. But he don't know what he good for. He don't know. He don't know what he good for. He don't know how to win. He's not a charmer. He doesn't know how to charm people. And we're not trying to be able to, you're out here like a snake salesman, like a snake oil salesman. No, he needs to know how to be able to speak to people. You have to know how to navigate these particular spaces. You have to know how to talk to people. He doesn't know how to talk to people. He doesn't. He suffered his defeat because of his elevation in his own brains. His political philosophy has elevated himself among everyone else, and he believes that people should view him in the light of a learned man and that they should automatically choose him. And that's not happening. That's just not happening. You believe that we should see you as a learned man. You believe that the country should view you and your you tell us stories about when you grew up, who used to come to your house, how these political, you already have a mindset, you have a philosophy internally that you are owed something, as though, you know what I mean, like somebody owe you something, that this is a natural fit, you in politics. Now, I believe, I don't know this, I believe Hubert Ingram might have fanned the flames of that concept and would have been able to give you, to fortify that makeshift spine that you had from that political standpoint. But just like how them people just build them bridge and then try to step on it. You ever see the people building the bridge in classes? It looks strong, And then when you step on it, it can't hold no weight. Boom, and it collapses. The makeshift spine that you had from a political standpoint, it looks strong, But as soon as the weight of a constituency was able to kind of rest upon your shoulders, you buckled every single time. Every single time you buckled. You buckled. Because you don't have the ability to be able to talk to people. And I have to talk to you all from behind my microphone because you don't want to have a real conversation. You want to cuss. You want to carry on like you know. You don't know. I just explained to you that you don't know. You can't see you. I could see you. You can't see you. Now, you may feel, Howard, listen, I didn't tell you this. For the 14 years I've been doing this, I call elections. For the 14 years I've been doing this, and every year I'm getting harder at this thing. For the 14 years, I have relationships. I know who to talk to. I know how to talk. I know what people expect. I know these. I study these things. I don't have no preconceived notions. I don't think nobody owe me nothing. Ain't no big time politicians used to come by my house. Lindy Russell come by our house a couple of times, and then Grammy grumbled about him. Grammy grumbled about the PLP. Grammy grumbled about the member of parliament. Only person Grammy never grumbled about was her daughter. And that's only because that's her daughter. And then in quiet, she'll say, "Is anyway. That's what she'll say. She'll start to cuss her own daughter. I never had no big time fellas come to my house and tell me nothing. My uncles used to play football at O.B. Wilchcombe. They love O.B. They cry more than when O.B. died, they cry more than when their daddy died. You hear me? My uncles cry more when O.B. died than when their father died. They love O.B. But I don't have nothing in my brains that elevates me to a position that I believe I should be afforded the opportunity to be able to serve these people because if they know what's good for them. I don't have that kind of a mindset. I don't. I'm not going to start off my conversation and tell you that, O.B. Wilchcombe used to come to our house, and I remember when Lyndon Pinden stopped by and my grandmother would be able. I don't have none of these stories. I only get stories from the struggles of what it means to be in a particular community. I only got stories about the ideas of men and women being able to say to me that this is what their aspirations was. This is what they want for their children. This is what we need to get. This is what your mother needs to do. That's all I got. I only got the ideas of what the average man, what the common man wants in terms of acquisition, in terms of being able to elevate to a position where they're respectable and they could be able to craft a future for themselves and their family. They're looking for legacy. They're looking for sustainability. They're looking for opportunity. They're looking to be able to find themselves clawing out of this hole. There's no one coming in there to throw a damn rope down there. To no one, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen, and they know that. The people who I've been speaking to over these years, no one is disillusioned with this sort of an idea that someone will be a savior. But you need leadership that has the capability of being able to capture the imaginations of people and get them on board with what you're doing right there on ground, on ground zero, on the ground floor. That's what you need. You sitting out here and you think that somebody owe you. Nobody owe you nothing, Bala. That's why y'all are lousy politicians. Y'all are lousy politicians because you're already coming there with a preconceived notion about what school you're going to, how much education you have, what you do in the country. No one cares about any of that. No one cares about that. No one cares about that. They didn't care about it they definitely don't care about your political organization. No one cares about that. No one cares to say, this is F&M. I got to vote for the F&M. If I don't vote for the PLP, I got to vote for the F&M. They didn't say that in Angleston at all. They didn't say that in Centerville at all. The F&M will continue to be able to be crippled if you look at yesterday and look to be able to to duplicate the concepts and ideas of yesteryear without being able to learn from the principles of what happened and applying yourself to a new generation, new mindset, new ideas to be able to move towards the future, the Free National Movement will die. They will die. I don't care if you think that you're old as an organization and this can't happen to you because you've been around too long. The flipping Titanic, the fella stand up on the top of the thing and say, even God himself can't do it, and he never make it back to shore. Stop thinking that you're bigger than the program. You're not bigger than the program. You're not bigger. I don't care how long you've been around. You're not bigger than the program. The FNM as an organization is considered a monkey. And one monkey don't stop no show. You got to figure out, how do I fit in with a new age, new generation of Bahamians to get to where we need to go in this country? Stop trying to be able to push your philosophy down to people. Structure your philosophy to align with what's happening from an external standpoint. You don't do that. You ain't listening to me. You're calling in all these people. You all keep calling in all these people from all over the world who don't know nothing. Nothing. They don't know nothing about what's happening around here. Nothing. Nothing. At least if you hire local, you could say, this dumb boy didn't know nothing. These man them rake and scrape all your money out. You all had a sign war. I never see such low-level politics in my life. You all had a sign war in 2026 because you all broke. People almost getting an accident trying to read these 867 words you got on this 4x4 piece of board on the side of the... What the hell is going on here? Oh, Jesus, the car. What y'all doing? A sign war. Like the wars we just see between Arby's and Subway, or between Burger King and Wendy's on our social media platforms. A sign war. You will not learn. And you will be defeated going into 2036. Because 2031, in my view, is already done. You didn't do the honorable thing. Michael Pintard should never sit in Parliament. He should have never taken a seat in Parliament. Hubert Ingram, you know better than that. You should have told him that. Who else can sit there? Well, if he dropped down dead, somebody else can sit there. You all keep worrying about the wrong things. You all keep worrying about the wrong things. You think only one Jesus Christ, only his mother only birthed a leader? Don't keep worrying about the wrong things. You got to give someone else an opportunity to be able to do something. Only your mother birthed a leader. Only your mother one birthed a leader. Nobody else could do it. That's what y'all say about Hubert Minnis. Oh, Hubert Minnis can't do it because only Hubert Ingram could do it. When Hubert Minnis do it, Jesus, the man do it. Ooh, what we can do? You all make up every excuse why Brave Davis couldn't do this. Brave Davis do it, you say, man, this man can't travel, man. The U.S. looking for him. They doing this, they doing that. The man win. Then you say, Jesus, he traveling so much, he's trying to catch up. He's traveling all over the world, he's traveling. You all got to make up your mind. You got to make up your mind. He can't win no two, man. Even the former Prime Minister came out and say that he can't win two because only Hubert Ingram do that. That don't even make sense. That don't even make sense what you saying. Greater works than these you should also do. That's the principle in the Word of God. He was rabbi. Jesus Christ was rabbi. He was a teacher. Hubert Ingram and Perry Christie paid teacher to Brave Davis. He told us the stories. And greater works than these he got to do. He got to do. Greater works than these, Brave Davis must do over Hubert Ingram and over Perry Christie. And dare I say, watch this, you ain't gonna like this. You're going to like this. You ready for this? Dare I say, Brave Davis is the number 2 prime minister in the history of this country. Jesus. Dare I say to you that Brave Davis has superseded Perry Christie. He has superseded Hubert Minnis. He has superseded Hubert Ingram. Brave Davis is the second best, and Brave Davis can supersede Lyndon Pinland, because Lyndon Pinland put the infrastructure in place for what we enjoy right now. Okay? So he can't supersede him. He can't supersede him. As we identify that, you can't supersede him. You would want to believe that he could, but you can't. So it goes Lyndon Pinland, Brave Davis. Mother sick. Y'all ain't even want to talk to me. You're mad. You're mad now. You're mad. But I know in your spirit of spirits, in your heart of heart, you know I correct. You know I correct. Brave Davis has superseded Hubert Ingram. I told you all that Hubert Ingram lorded over and managed over a dispensation where infrastructural development was crucial. So what we saw happening with, and the only thing he knows is infrastructural development. What we saw happening with the opening of the airways, what we saw even with the Immovable Property Act, and guess what? Brave Davis, you got to deal with that. You got to deal with that. Jesus, God Almighty. You got to deal with that. And that might put you in number 1 capacity. In number 1 capacity. You deal with the Movable Properties Act. You make it affordable for Negroes, young professionals who is making more than my mother. I'm making more money than my mother them could ever make. And I still can't afford to live around here. I'm making more money than my mother them ever make, ever. And I still can't afford to live in this country. You deal with that. Not just land reform. You deal with the Immovable Properties Act. You deal with you repeal and replace. You stop, review, cancel. You identify those things. You strengthen that what needs to be strengthened to be able to make sure you deal with that. You deal with that. You will live in the hearts of these people till Jesus Christ come. Forever. And we'll float you up to number 1. You deal with that. Deal with what needs to happen for the people of this country, and we will float you, no problem. I'll be the first one out here championing the cause. Davis, he's the man. If he can't do it, no one can. I got my whole pom-poms, I get ready to go. You deal with what needs to be dealt with, what Hubert Ingram mess up. Because he lorded over an infrastructural development time. But he made sure that he took care of the foreigners first. I don't care what y'all say. Y'all keep thinking that Hubert Ingram did all these great things. Hubert Ingram created an environment to ensure that the foreigners were kept taken care of. This is why they coined the Free National Movement the Foreign National Movement, because they always ensured, even with the Commercial Enterprise Bill, they always ensured that expedited access for those particular persons from an external standpoint and never took care of us internally. If we benefited from anything, it wasn't a focus on being able to ensure the benefit from the Bahamian people. It was being able to do, 1, to take care of the external aspect. 2, to be able to fortify the legacy and solidify the Free National Movement in a particular position. So the development of the houses and the housing projects and so forth and so on, it was not because of a natural desire to be able to focus on the middleman, focus on the small man, to focus on the working class. It was a responsibility that they had to solidify themselves going forward. They needed to be able to identify these particular projects to say, undoubtedly, from a futuristic standpoint, that the Free National Movement has done this for you. They didn't do that because it was a concern. When this was developed in the early days with Lynden Pinland, they did that for a love for the people and an understanding that empowerment was crucial. The development of Lynden Pinland Estates, the development of being able to identify these things and moving towards independence and so forth and so on was a crucial factor to be able to identify who we were and our identity as Bahamians. This is why Lynden Pinland is number one in our hearts. Because he gave us value as human beings. And you could never take that from him. He gave us value. We just was a bunch of Negroes fighting amongst Negroes, segregated from the white man. Solidified our position, identified our strength, let the Union Jack fall, let the Bahamian flag rise up, empowered people. Yeah, you write the national anthem, all right? Yeah. Whoever's been there. You write the national anthem. You do the pledge. You set this up. You set up the flag. He empowered Negroes. I'm gonna be decent, and I'm gonna say in an affectionate way about who we are. He empowered us. Right where we were, lowly identified our strength and position and empowered us to use our talent to get to where we're supposed to be. And we use that talent, and it now is solidified into our minds and hearts of the Bahamian people, identified the world over as this is the Bahama land. The Bahama land that we identify right now was identified by the talent and the scouting ability of the Progressive Liberal Party. Hubert Ingram did not do that for us. He did not. He did not. Agent 1622. You all just don't want me to get. Just don't want me to get it. I tired of this foolishness, man. And this is why I have to come out here and get my own radio station and all these things like that. I tired of this. The woman Gabby told me the other day, say, thank God for Hubert Ingram. Hubert Ingram didn't buy none of these things. And he didn't open the airwaves for me and for people like me. In fact, it's people like him who don't want me on the general airwaves. They don't want me the Guardian. I need to shut up. You all need to stop it. This wasn't created for us, man. This wasn't created for us. We take advantage of the opportunities because you can't segregate us anymore, but this wasn't created for us. This expedience was never created for us. We take advantage, we benefit from what was designed, but this wasn't designed with us in mind. Let's be clear about it. Hubert Ingram is concerned about infrastructural development and identifying how to be able to deal with those things, and we can appreciate it. We're not fighting him. We're not mad at him. He gone, he come back, and he deal with Listen, if we have some real conversations with you, real, when you thought that you benefited, consultants indicated to the government that this is a crucial turning point from a global standpoint, and the Bahamas needs to align with these particular concepts, and you need to introduce this, this, and this. You hear me? You hear me? When you thought that you would have benefited from this great concept, opportunity, accessibility, so forth and so on, many times it was external consultants from a global standpoint indicating that the world is moving forward. And in the event that you desire to be able to borrow monies from us, we need to be able to ensure that your country hits certain marks before we can be able to even consider you for these particular things. The introduction of a debt for nature swap. These concepts and ideas to be able to find themselves leveraged and getting accessibility and ensuring that these particular things happen so that, one, the administration could do well and they have the capital to execute the projects that they're looking for. They couldn't do that without being able to introduce certain aspects of things socially. the Fresh Start program, the Jump Start program. It wasn't a conversation about entrepreneurialism. It was a necessity to fortify the middle class, the working class, small and medium developments, and small and medium enterprises. He had to do that. He had to do that. I need to stop it. I'm sick and tired of these things. Hubert Ingram is number 3. We go Lyndon Pinlin, Brave Davis, Philip Edward Brave Davis, number 2. I don't know how you feel about that. That really don't matter to me. And you sit in these capacities and you do all of these things. Let me read a text, guys. Text me, 827-011. You know, I like these texts. Let's read some text and see exactly what's going on. Let's check it out. Howard Grant, you are wrong. Howard Grant, you're wrong. When it comes to leadership, because the first will always be Sir Lyndon Pinlin, and the second will always be Hubert Ingram. Am I wrong? How the second could always be Hubert Ingram? Hubert Ingram ain't do nothing special. He do what was necessity. It was a necessity. He did what he was told to do. I don't like that, you know. Hubert Ingram did what he was told to do. I don't care how much encyclopedia book he put out. He did what he was told to do. Told to do. He did what he was told to do. You keep fighting me. History could show you and identify that he did what he was told to do. He's a glorified manager. And simply because we didn't see anyone who had the gumption, the wherewithal, to be able to identify some of the infractions and deal with that, we accepted his position as superior. The only leader that this country has seen in its history is Lyndon Pinlin. And with the emergence of the leadership and the convictions of this Prime Minister, Brave Davis, and listen, this ain't shake the pom-poms for Brave Night. This ain't, carry this pail of water for Brave. This ain't what this is. It's just looking at this. Brave Davis did not have to buy the Grand Mama Power Company. He didn't have to do that. Brave Davis didn't have to say a damn word to Grand Mama Port Authority. Not a word he needed to bother with. None of that. He didn't have to revive a conversation from 1969. He didn't have to deal with that. He didn't have to put no dock down in Long Island. He didn't have to deal with that. All of these particular concepts and ideas without an agenda externally being able to align the country with progressive concepts, ideas for growth and development, he didn't have to do that. He could have done more of the same and possibly still win. Because Michael Pintari never had nothing to offer nobody. Not a vision. All he had to do was retort. He had rebuttals. That's what he had. He had relentless, perpetual rebuttals. Brave Davis might have still been able to win. Oh. Let's read the text. He said, the first will always be Sir Lyndon Pinlin. The second will always be Hubert Ingram. But the only way Brave can beat Hubert Ingram's legacy, he got to have successful second term. And I could see an early election by 2030 because the PLP got to do 4 things. Restructure NIB, Family Island Infrastructure Development, Immigration, Healthcare, and Educational System. Restructure NIB. I don't know whether or not the entire election hinges on whether or not you restructure NIB. I think that this is for you and I. Okay, let's do something. How much minutes we got? We didn't get 20 minutes. Let's talk like this. I was in a heated argument the other day. And I don't like stupidity. Okay? I've been a big fella, and I did lose a couple pounds. But for the most part, I've been a big fella my whole life. I always carry myself without a conjunction. I don't want to be fat and. I never like the and. I tell you, I come from where Negroes live. So when they cuss you. The and is always this guy who went to school with me. He was fat. All of us fat in grade, the same grade. But I was fat and fly. Let's come talk to me. Let's just be very clear. I always had the fresh. I had the Deion Sanders. I had the Charles Barkley. I fresh. I fresh. I got a fresh cut. I clean. All the pretty girls like me because I handsome. Talk to me. And I's a charmer. I know how to talk to girls. Talk to me and we talking. This boy was a nerd. He never ironed his shirt. His shirt always ain't buttoned up properly. His pants gunning. His socks hanging out. He's a big dealer. You know what I mean? Them loose socks. You know what I mean? Like, you put too much bleach in this, sir. You could see that. All the stretched aside. Oh, God, I can't take this no more. This look like your daddy's socks that he wore in the 70s. Why are you wearing them? You got them on. One sock's high, one sock's low. Is tennis dirty? I was embarrassed. I didn't say anything in 7th, 8th grade. By the time you get to 9th, 10th grade, I said to myself, let me see something, bro. I put him aside. Because I learned this from my grandmother. But I put him aside. I said, listen to me, bro. Listen. We can't be fat and sloppy. Okay? It's one thing to be fat. But you can't be fat and sloppy. You got to be able to present yourself accordingly. You got to present yourself with strength. I talk with him, me and him the same age. And I talking to him. I ain't gonna never tell you who it is. But I talking to him. I say, you gotta fix yourself up, man. Jesus Christ, what you doing? You're making us look bad out here. That's why I said that. I said, you're making us look bad out here. You're giving fat people a bad name. Set yourself up better than this. I always, listen to me, my whole life, anybody who knows me in 8 Mile Rock who's called me Mado, know me and know I pursue perfection. Okay? I try to do things the right way and so forth and so on. And trying to do the things the right way and trying to be able to identify that, I will always take this sort of a course of being able to do and say some things according to my convictions and so forth and so on. So I always wanted to do better in my life. I had a conversation with my wife. And in this conversation, I was upset. This is a conversation. We were talking about something that happened. And I don't have tolerance for foolishness. I just don't have I don't have the time. I see time in a unique manner. I see time as fleeting. I see, when you hear me talk, you would think I have like something wrong. You would think that for the way that I speak about death and its inevitability, you would think that's something wrong. But why Howard keep talking about death? We can die one day. You'll hear me say that. We ain't got long here. You'd hear me say something like that. Because I'm consciously focused on the fact that we have an objective to be able to fulfill during the time that we're here. That I cannot speak for my ancestors and the fellows before me, for what they would have done or what they didn't do. That in this dispensation, at this particular time, I have the responsibility of being able to speak with strength, with power, and with vigor in the office that the Father has given me. And so, when I start to talk about these things, I get pissed because I can't see why you can't see what I see. And it is frighteningly obvious to me. And I keep saying to people, and I had another conversation this morning, we only got 400,000 Negroes here. And this is the variation of Negroes. This goes from white Negroes that we call Conky Joes and affectionately. And this goes to the darkest of Negroes and to the lower class of Negroes. Or variations of people who are struggling, looking for an opportunity for themselves and their family to be solidified, to be identified, to be able to work hard, to be able to find some level of comfort, to be able to know that your family will be taken care of when this life, all this is done. And I said, we only have 400,000 Negroes here. I need you to listen to me. All y'all in the United States of America who have gone off to do all what you want to do and all these things like that, and you're performing and doing well, praise God for you. We only have 400,000 people here. Variation of Negroes. The spectrum of negality. We could call it a niggerdom. Oh my God, Howard, what are you doing? The kingdom of Negroes. Yeah. We got 400,000. Numerically. 3/4 of them ain't into nothing. What am I talking about? Numerically. Systematically, as we identify this from a global standpoint and we make a determination as to who is interested and who is not interested numerically, we are confident that more than 50% of the people that live in this country are solely seeking survival. Let's do this. 70%. Let's call it comfortably. I wouldn't say 75. I can say 70. Okay? That is more than 300,000 people in this country who are looking to survive, looking to take care of themselves, whether you identify them as illegal migrants, whether you identify them as Bahamian people. Everyone, this proverbial crab in the pen is at a lower level. That's just what it is. It's what it is. You don't fight me. I didn't create this. We come and meet this here. Many of us can leave and leave this here. This is what it is. The poor will always be among you. They will always be here. They will always be here. Power is a mindset. There is a desire to be able to pursue contentment. That's all people want. People want to be satisfied with where they are. They're not looking for liberty. They're not looking for access. They're not looking for success. You believe that people trying to be able to get success in this country, they don't want success. They only want contentment. They want satisfaction. They want comfort. People are pursuing comfort, not success. Because in the pursuit of success, you could never find comfort. It doesn't exist. You can't sleep. You can't eat sometimes. You can't focus. You can't do this. You are tired in the relentless pursuit of success because success is ever moving. It's always moving. You got to run after it. You got to go after it. Success is kinetic. It has to be able to change with time. Comfort is stagnant. It doesn't even have potential. It only exists in a space. Comfort is what people pursue. Because you could put a hedge around your comfort and tell people, oh, no, we can't change that. And that's what a lot of persons who are gatekeepers do. They put a hedge around their immediate comfort. because they don't want to educate themselves. They don't want to expose themselves. They don't want to learn a new language. They don't want to learn new people. They don't want to be able to get out of that introvert shell. They don't want to do anything. They're comfortable in this particular capacity. There is more than 75% of people who pursuing comfort in this country. There's 25% of us, 50,000 people. And the numbers would always indicate that. Any test that you do, there is a percentage of people between 10 and 30% of the people who is relentlessly pursuing that particular comfort. Now, you just got to know where you fall. That's all this is. You got to know where you fall. Are you in the majority or are you in the minority? The minority is those that's seeking success. Now, I don't understand y'all who exist in the minority. Why do you get frustrated? Do you believe that you could convince these people? You can't convince people who are trying to be able to pursue. You can't. Too much words. You're trying to talk too much words. Shut up. You're talking too much. You're trying to confuse me with all these words. Shut up. It is not your responsibility to be able to identify and try to explain away to a person who don't know. Who ain't trying to know. They only trying to get to a position. Come on now, let's talk. They only trying to get to a position of contentment. What you trying to educate them for? You think everyone's supposed to take the O level? You think everyone's supposed to take the A level BGCSE? You think everybody's supposed to take the damn BGCSE in the first place? You think this for everybody? This ain't for everybody. You need to identify who this for. You can't build your country with everybody. There are some people who are going to be laborers out here, and there's some people who are going to be liberators out here of the mind. But that can't happen with words. That got to happen with actions, because people in this country work with their hands. And once you create an environment and they could see it, they will run into it, pick it up, and be able to apply it. When it comes to the NIB conversation, the whole country don't care about none of that. All we know, this is another form of taxing. Ain't nobody care about that until they reach it. They can cross the bridge when they reach it. They ain't trying to cross the bridge before time. When I get old and I need that, then we can talk about that. But 25 to 30% of us understand, even 40%, understand that we can't wait till then. See, your problem is you trying to be able to convince the masses to get on board with these things. And you don't recognize that there are people out here that are like-minded, that share in your convictions and your determination. You're so consumed with being able to see their indifference through their political lens, through their political position, based upon what has been taught to them by their families. You're so consumed with that you don't recognize and understand that these are people that you need to work with. You hate them. You make them rivals. You identify them in a particular light and don't realize that you need to work with these people. You sit down here and believe only the government could give the rowdy boys $20 million. Oh, God, they got to do this and that. You got to be stupid. You have not collectively identified different forms of talents and being able to put them under a conglomerate and present this particular undeniable fraction to the government and say, this is what our expectations are. This is what you could be able to expect to be done. You didn't do that. You sit here and row about the rowdy boys who sit in Long Island as Conky Joes, who know what to do, when to do it, and say to the government, if you do this for us, this is what we can get done. You're sitting here with an expectation that the government automatically creates local government in Nassau. You didn't create an entity. You didn't create anything. You all are lousy people. Lousy. You're educated, you're experienced, you're exposed, and you feel stagnant because your philosophy. We talked about this yesterday. Your philosophy says to you that the only way that something can get done is with a sanction for the government, but the government needs you. I can't get an amen, Jesus. The government needs you. The government needs me. The government needs us to carry out its agenda and also to be able to hear about what's happening on the ground in the country. The government needs influencers. And I'm not talking about these social media influencers. I'm talking about the idea that you could be able to carry from a seed and cause that thing to germinate into the hearts of the people and make them to understand that this is the direction to go. It's only 400,000. It's only but 30,000 hours. Stop it, man. Stop it. It's only but 30,000 hours. It's only 30,000 hours. And you're on, you're hurting yourself looking for 400,000 people to be on board with you. It's not going to happen. Never. As soon as you build it, they will come. It is absolutely undeniable. It is inevitable. If you build it, they must come. This is what they do. This is what the masses do. They follow the rhythm. They follow the Pied Piper. They follow the concepts because they don't care enough to be able to educate themselves. In due time and due season, you could create environments where persons could be able to access information, to learn, to empower themselves financially, economically, otherwise, educationally, spiritually, so forth and so on. We could create accessibility to these things right where they are. But this is to create the brook, the ravine. We can't juke the horse mouth in it. You concern and consume yourself with politics, but realize that you will be judged on your contribution. Not your political organization's contribution. Your contribution. What did you do with the time that you had in this country? So consumed with what other people do. I don't care what none of y'all do. I am fully prepared to get fired again from any corporation I'm working with because I got my own things. Now, this ain't making no $100 million yet. But we can get it where we need to get it. Without your support, this is what I just do. I can figure it out. I can figure it out, baby. I can figure it out. And I hope to God that I inspire you to stop being a sissy and scared. Oh my God, I'm so scared, Howard. I don't want to lose my job. Oh, I got children to feed. Oh, you know, Jesus, I know I got more children than you. I know that. You and your 2 children. I know I got more children than you. You then pronounce to the atmosphere after you had the 2, oh Lord, I don't know what I can do. I don't know where I can get the money from. I don't think I will have no more children. Cause your wife warmed them. Reject anything else that's coming because you don't even know how to charge the atmosphere with positivity. You've rejected the blessings that the Father has for you. Because you've consumed the conditioning of what this time and dispensation says about you or to you. You haven't gone to the foundation. You haven't revisited where God has called us to be. It's time for you to be able to understand that the Father has called you into greatness. It's time for you to be able to understand. It's time for you to step into the space that God has called you to be. And stop being a sissy. It's time for you to stop being afraid of being able to come back home. It's time for you to stop the meandering. This life is going to be done soon. Done. This life is going to be done. Somebody texts me and says, yeah, boy, Howard, he has passed Ingram. Many people ain't gonna like that, but it's true. There's a text is coming through. Good afternoon, Howard Grant. Michael won a seat from 2024. Michael was making serious meetings in Life at Key. In 2024, Michael got in Life at Key Club to push her nomination. I work in the back there, and I witnessed several high-profile meetings with several people in Life at Key Club, and the only man that can bring the F&M to the victory, because Hubert Minnis the 92,000 supporters backing him in 2017 election. Only Hubert Minnis can bring the supporters back. Hubert Ingram time is over from the 2017 election. But Hubert Minnis and Hubert Ingram was kamikaze pilots for this dispensation. Hubert Ingram and Hubert Minnis were both kamikaze pilots that killed themselves in a suicide mission for their egotistical posture without understanding the necessity for being able to develop the next generation. I must commend the PLP. I must commend the PLP. I must commend the PLP for taking on this kind of a position and understanding that the next generation is important. I must commend them for being able to set the stage for an exit. They have done so. And they were absolutely impressive with what they were doing. I don't expect the Prime Minister to be able to go another term. There is enough talent that exists around him. It seems as though the Minister of Tourism and six-time champion in the constituency of Angliston may be preparing herself for this to be her ultimate term, the last term. We would have already heard Fred Mitchell indicating that this is his last term. There is a transition happening in the PLP, consciously, strategically, deliberately. They're putting youth in place. They're identifying talent and absorbing it into the fold of the Progressive Liberal Party, fortifying their bench with no fear of who can take over the PLP if Brave ain't there. They got nothing but options. The FNM likes to tell us about this deep bench. And they went from a tent to a tiki hut. My God. And in the hut, they got 4 chief Indians. You won't have problems. You ain't going to get none of your people. You ain't return. You ain't say come back home. You didn't have nothing. It's a sickening thing that you'll continue to be able to cry and identify fractions and issues that happen from an external standpoint. I'm pointing it out. It's called shunning your responsibility. You shun your responsibility and say that this is the cause of that, and these people caused that, and this caused that, and these elements caused that, and I only lose because of Dorian, and then we lose because of Minnis, and then before that we lose because of Ingram, but we ain't still suffering from the Ingram era, we still suffering from the Minnis era, and all these things, and maybe Michael Pintado was in the lead. Every Jesus thing, you excusing your guts out. I sick and tired of y'all. I ain't into that no more. You think you sit down and talk about how we lose that 3-on-3 game? We get the next game to play. Let's get ourselves prepared. Only way we can be able to talk about that is when we hit the court. And I said, now listen to me. You didn't hit that pick properly the last time. You allow him to roll around that. Make sure you pull back a little ways and boom, boom. We got to fix these things. We got to fix it. The PLP has not stopped campaigning from 2017, and they are going to beat you until 2037. They can keep beating you. They are going to keep cutting your behind. Because you still haven't learned from your mistakes. You're rejecting the people who love and care for the organization and pushing them into the arms of another lover. Silly, man. I'm not going to fight you guys. I want to thank you guys so much for being able to tune in with us today. It was a beautiful conversation. I'm grateful that you took the time out to be able to sit with me and kind of tune into what we're doing here in this space. I always looking forward to being able to have a good conversation with you. We're going to tune in with you tomorrow, God Spare Our Lives. You're going to listen to the budget debate a little later on and bring a little bit of that to you as we continue to be able to talk and get those things straight. All right? You guys have a beautiful day. I love you very much. And I thank you for the opportunity to be able to speak to you, speak into your lives and speak into your family lives and speak into the future of this nation and speak with tenacity, with fire, with conviction. And I thank you for the opportunity that you've given me. I really do. Thank you very much. I'll see you guys tomorrow. God's Spirit Live right here on The Foundation.